We've been praying for this day for a long time.
Right now, reaction from family members and lawyers on the case as the Waukesha Christmas Parade trial comes to an end with a verdict.
Plus, we take a look inside Madison's new and improved men's temporary homeless shelter.
And a News 3 Now reality check as a new political ad takes aim at a tax plan Senator Ron Johnson supported in 2017. News 3 Now at 6 starts right now.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in count 1 of the information.
Thanks for joining us tonight. After less than 4 hours of deliberation, the jury in the Waukesha Parade attack trial finding the suspect, Darrell Brooks, guilty. In total, he was facing 76 charges, and the jury found him guilty on all of them. That includes 6 counts of first-degree intentional homicide and 6 counts of hit-and-run causing death. Last November, Brooks drove his SUV into the Waukesha Christmas Parade route. He hit and killed 6 people. Dozens of others were injured.
Brooks was arrested later that day. Now, initially, Brooks' attorneys entered a not guilty plea by reason of mental disease or defect, but that plea was later changed, and Brooks no longer wanted an attorney at all. And since then, this was a trial unlike any other. Brooks represented himself and regularly was thrown out of the courtroom for disruptions and arguments with a judge. The trial started more than 2 weeks ago and ended last night around 8:30 when the jury was handed the case, returning a verdict of guilty on all charges today.
A short time after the verdict came down, the city of Waukesha released a statement titled, "We Remain Waukesha Strong." In it, the city thanking everyone involved and wrote, "Despite extremely difficult circumstances, we have continued to let the world see how wonderful a community Waukesha truly is." It may not give everyone closure, but families of the victims say they hope the verdicts are steps toward healing.
Brady Mallory joins us now with what they had to say after court today. Brady?
Well, a man named Marshall talked about his mom who was killed in the parade. He says his family has been praying for this day for a very long time. Another victim's family member says justice was served today. Waukesha DA Sue Opper, who prosecuted this case, says it's satisfying to see the jury hold Brooks accountable. However, she found Brooks' self-defense disrespectful and offensive.
She was with us today, and I just want to thank everyone for what they did today. And one last thing, my mom always used to tell us when we were kids and our family that she always said, "Angels watch over you guys." So I just want to say, angels watch over you guys, and turn on those blue lights tonight.
He did everything he can except claim that the dog ate his homework. And he tried to turn this into his story. Let's talk about Mr. Brooks and his family. And we just kept redirecting it back to the real focus here is our families, our victims, our community, and his responsibility for this destruction.
Opper says the fact Brooks, who is not an attorney, represented himself changed the prosecution strategy here. She says in order to avoid any mistrials due to Brooks's mistakes, her team was as thorough and complete as possible.
Brady, thank you. And as for where the trial goes from here, there are several options. Earlier today, we spoke with local defense attorney Chris Van Wagner to get his take on the verdict and what a potential appeal could look like.
An appeal is literally based on the cold record. And so it will take probably, 3, 4, 5 months to just prepare the transcripts from the trial alone. So his case will not even reach a briefing stage for a full year.
Van Wagner gave us a lot of good context today on the trial moving forward. To see the whole thing for yourself, check it out on our website or download our Channel 3000 News app.
A sentencing date for Brooks has not yet been set. There is a scheduled hearing next Wednesday where that could be decided. In the meantime, be sure to stay with News 3 Now and Channel3000.com for all of your trial updates and developments. Let's check your certified most accurate forecast now with Julian Seawright.
Well, things are rather smooth for us as we continue to head into the rest of our Wednesday night. Now, one thing we're going to be watching for is a beauty in the skies. We're getting our sunset rolling for us, and it's just such a shame that it always happens every day now, just so much earlier. But as we look ahead, this is what we're going to be preparing for throughout the rest of tonight. The 40s will stick around until we get into around the 10 o'clock hour. Then we're going to be into the upper 30s. And folks, we are going to be dropping those temperatures into around a freezing point for us as we get into the overnights. Good thing is wind speeds have pretty much died down and lost intensity. So we're just looking for a very light breeze as we head into the rest of our evening. But again, we are going to see temperatures really fall. It's going to be a chilly night for us, but it's rather seasonable for this time of years. We're going to be around 32 degrees for us here in Madison, and throughout Dane County in itself, we're all going to be very similar in uniform into those lower 30s. For the rest of the southern Wisconsin area, looking at 31 degrees for Janesville and about 34 degrees over towards Platteville. And we're going to be preparing for what else we could be seeing for the rest of the week, because it is a nice little surprise of some decent weather for the stretch ahead. We'll talk about it coming up in just a few moments. Until then, back to you guys.
Developing tonight at 6, the UW Police Department releasing these photos today as they continue to investigate who is responsible for the graffiti left on the Memorial Union and Alumni Park this week. UWPD says they have determined the damage was done by 2 people who were seen in the area around 4 o'clock in the morning on Monday. The suspects wore dark clothing and were masked. An estimated $30,000 in damage was done. And in Verona, police there are searching for a man who has not been seen since yesterday morning. 51-year-old John Ramsire was last seen at the Fitchburg Target. Police say he may be on foot or on a bicycle since his vehicle was left at home. Anyone with information on his whereabouts is urged to contact Verona Police.
Campaign 2022 coverage now on the UW-Madison campus today. Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren joined Democrats encouraging voters to cast their ballots.
In this election, the economy is on the ballot. Republicans want this economy to work better for millionaires and billionaires. But Mandela and Tony and Josh and all the Democrats are committed to making this economy work for everyone.
Senator Warren is just the first in a series of high-profile Democrats coming to Wisconsin. Pete Buttigieg will be in Madison Friday. Former President Barack Obama will be in Milwaukee on Saturday. And in Rock County today, the other side of the aisle, U.S. Senator Ron Johnson meeting with local businesses leaders there at Iron Tech in Beloit. He hosted a closed-door roundtable event and afterwards spoke with reporters about how he feels about his campaign so far and also his 12 years in office.
I'm pretty proud of, again, my record as Wisconsin's U.S. Senator. I've accomplished an awful lot for the state, and I've told the truth. And when I ran in 2010, I made 2 promises. I'll always tell you the truth. I'll never vote or conduct myself with my re-election in mind. I've honored those promises.
You did say no 3rd term, though, Ron.
That was my intention. Things change.
The race for U.S. Senate is incredibly close, with ads firing back and forth on both sides. Political reporter Will Keneally has this reality check looking at an attack against Ron Johnson for a tax plan he supported.
Ron Johnson works for himself, never us.
This is the claim of an ad bought by the Senate Majority PAC, a group working to elect a Democratic Senate.
Ron Johnson pushed tax loopholes benefiting himself and his donors.
This is likely in reference to a change Johnson pushed for in a 2017 tax bill. This was back during the Trump administration, and Johnson was one of a handful of Republican holdouts to pass the GOP-authored bill. What got Johnson on board was a change to the tax structure for what are called pass-through businesses. In businesses structured that way, taxes pass through the business and end up being paid by the business owners rather than the business itself. It's how more than 90% of businesses in the country are structured. So under Johnson's plan, the amount of business income that is deductible increased. So instead of deducting 17%, business owners can now deduct 20% of that income.
Did my business benefit? Sure. Did some of my donor businesses? Sure.
The ad says Johnson voted for the bill so he would personally benefit, and so that his donors would also benefit. It's true that GOP megadonors Richard and Liz Uline and Diane Hendricks benefited from the tax break. ProPublica estimated it would save them more than $500 million over 8 years. Between the two families, they backed Johnson's 2016 re-election to the tune of $20 million. Johnson said, though, the purpose of the tax break was to support businesses. Again, more than 90% of business owners would stand to benefit. The ad makes a few other claims, including
he voted to raise the retirement age and allow cuts to Social Security.
This is true in part, but could use some clarification. Johnson floated a plan earlier this year to move Social Security into the part of the budget that gets reauthorized each year. This doesn't mean that he wants to see any cuts, but rather move it into a part of the budget where changes could be made. And it is true. In at least one instance, Johnson voted for a plan by Rand Paul of Kentucky that would raise the eligibility age for Social Security up to 70 years over a 20-year time period. That vote took place in March of 2013. I'm Will Keneally with this reality check.
You can find our full reality check series online at channel3000.com.
And our coverage of campaign 2022 continues tomorrow with a live attorney general debate between Democratic incumbent Josh Kaul and his Republican challenger, Fond du Lac District Attorney Eric Toney, moderated by our very own Eric Franke. You can see it live at 4 o'clock tomorrow on WISC-TV, streamed on Channel 3000, or you can set your DVR to watch it when you get home. Still ahead at 6, we'll update you on a recall notice tonight from Clorox.
Plus, a massive drawing tonight for the Powerball. 700 million reasons to go out and pick up a ticket or two. Stay with us.
I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
All units, all units. Reports of an abortion at Central Hospital. Officers needed to detain doctor.
If Ron Johnson has his way, he wouldn't just ban abortions. Doctors could go to jail for it. And Johnson's tried for over a decade. He even co-sponsored a bill with no exceptions for rape, incest, or the life of the woman, and said if women don't like an abortion ban, they can just move. But it's Ron Johnson who doesn't belong in Wisconsin.
Dupixent helps you do more with less asthma and can help you breathe better in as little as 2 weeks. Dupixent is an add-on treatment for specific types of moderate to severe asthma that's not for sudden breathing problems. Dupixent can cause allergic reactions that can be severe. Get help right away if you have rash, chest pain, worsening shortness of breath, tingling or numbness in your limbs. Tell your doctor about new or worsening joint aches and pain or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines, including steroids, without talking to your doctor. Ask your specialist about Dupixent.
The house before you, over 30 years old, still has its original window. Boom.
There's no need to be afraid of old windows. Call Feldco for 50% off.
It's the biggest sale of the season. 50% off Feldco windows, plus no money down and no interest until 2024.
50% off ends Halloween. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
Welcome. We're so glad you're here. Looking for one of our most capable Ford SUVs? Okay, great. We've got you covered. Spacious interiors, innovative tech, good looks, and a legendary off-road experience. Check out our inventory today, or let us help you place a custom order. Getting into the perfect Ford SUV? Well, it's easier than ever. Yeah, we've got you covered. Now choose FlexBuy on a 2022 Ford Escape or Edge and get 0% financing for 66 months.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Welcome back. If you have Pine Sol under your sink, you're going to want to listen to this. Clorox is recalling 37 million bottles of Pine Sol that might have bacteria that could hurt people with compromised immune systems or people with external medical devices. There aren't any reports of people getting sick, but 8 different versions of Pine Sol have been recalled.
Well, if you're planning to take part in Halloween candy festivities this year, get ready to scare up a little more cash. The cost of chocolate and the like are expected to be 14% higher compared to just a year ago. Analysts say the increase shouldn't come as a surprise with all the inflation we've been talking about. Despite this, Americans are not being frightened away. The National Retail Federation says consumers are expected to spend $10.6 billion this Halloween. And well, here's an idea that might help you pay for that candy. Powerball jackpot has reached almost $700 million, according to Powerball, the 5th largest jackpot in its history, 8th largest U.S. lottery jackpot of all time. Powerball says the cash value of the prize will be about $335 million. The Wisconsin after-tax lump sum would be about $186 million. The next drawing will be tonight, 10 p.m. Tickets are $2 per play. There is more to come tonight at 6. A look at next year's Badger football schedule, which was just released today.
But first, from one temporary shelter to the next, how members of Madison's homeless population is adjusting to the change.
And after a soggy day yesterday, Julian Seawright will let us know what else is on the way this week. His full forecast coming up next.
Democrats defunded and dispirited our police, creating the worst crime wave in decades. Biden spent us into 40-year high inflation, drove gas prices to record levels, and opened our borders, causing a flood of illegal immigrants and deadly drugs. Mandela Barnes supports all the policies causing you and your family so much pain. He will rubber stamp their liberal agenda. Mandela Barnes sides with radical leftists, not with you.
I'm Ron Johnson, and I approve this message.
They tell me you want in,
Are you sure that's what you want? To be a part of this family? Because when you're in it, it's for life. There's no turning back. Do you understand?
It's Steinhaffel's Employee Family Price Sale, our biggest discount of the year. You pay what we pay. Save 40% store-wide and take advantage of Steinhaffel's special financing. During our Employee Family Price Sale, you're always family.
It's my grandma's chicken palm. I hope it's enough for the family.
At Blaine's Farm and Fleet, we make it easy to get ready for winter. We're the cold weather experts, offering the gear and supplies you need to combat the cold, snowy weather ahead, all at fair and honest prices. Like 30% off zero exposure coats for the family. These women's Carhartt vests, $99.99. Get a free pair of boot socks with every snow boot purchase while supplies last. And keep pets cozy with special buy pet bed and blanket sets, just $19.99.
Find value at Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
Chevy Silverado. It's got the power you want and the capability you need to do the job so you can get to the important work. Find new moments, find new roads. Get $500 cash allowance on this Silverado with a 2.7-liter engine. Plus, current Chevy owners can get an additional $2,500 cash allowance. Plus, get a $1,000 accessory allowance toward a new Chevy truck with accessories.
Radical Tim Michaels is extremely divisive.
I don't care who I offend.
And at his company, the culture comes from the top. Multiple court filings say women were sexually assaulted, harassed, and pressured to have sex with their bosses.
If she refused demands for sex, she would be blackballed from working on a pipeline job.
Higher-ups dismissed the women as liars and fired those who spoke out.
I don't care who I offend.
That's how Tim Michaels runs his company. Don't let him run our state.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Welcome back. Staff members at a new city-run shelter are preparing to add more beds for homeless people in Madison just 2 weeks after it first opened.
The temporary men's shelter near East Town Mall replaced another temporary shelter that closed to make room for the Madison Public Market. Tahlil Mohudin spoke with those running this new shelter about the move. Tahlil?
Well, that's right. Hundreds of people are already making use of that shelter on Zaire Road, and staff tell me even more guests are expected. Ferris says he's committed to serving some of the most vulnerable people in the Madison area.
I enjoy being on the front lines of offering services and dignity and respect to the essentials of human rights to our clients.
Ferris manages the city's temporary men's shelter on Zaire Road. A new facility, he says, has made it easier for him to do his job.
To keep track of everyone, to forge relationships with the guests.
While the space is temporary, the city has invested more than $1 million renovating it, making it more functional, offering some comfort for those in need.
There's more recreational space for people to eat together, you know, trying to create more of a community feel.
City leaders say so far the shelter has been well received by users, a success they attribute to a lot of planning.
We kind of saw some sort of possible barriers up front that we needed to combat with, you know, communication and just comfortability. But we were able to do that pretty well.
The shelter includes lockers to store belongings overnight, community dining, and better bathrooms. Since it opened 2 weeks ago, as many as 205 guests on any given night have used the shelter.
If that number is to climb, possibly during winter, we can accommodate more as we have cots that are available.
Anywhere between 5 to 7 people staff the shelter. That includes case managers and a security guard who checks guests' belongings for drugs, alcohol, or weapons at entry.
For a stable ground where people who are trying to get sober, people with mental health issues, can all come together and be peaceful in one area.
For Ferris, it's a good balance of safety, security, and compassion. The space on Zaire Road will house the men's shelter for the next 3 years. That's when the city plans to open a permanent shelter on Barland Drive.
Tahlil, thank you. Let's get you updated on weather. Here's Julian Seawright your certified most accurate forecast. Julian?
Well, the good news is it's going to be smooth sailing for the next few days for us and even potentially heading into next week. We're looking at this high pressure system to really just dominate our atmosphere for the next few, which is going to keep us not only just dry, but for the most part, plenty of sunshine through the days ahead. Now, as we take a look at what we're going to see for tonight's temperatures are going to fall to the chillier side that we haven't seen in the last couple of days. We're going to be into the lower 30s, around 32 degrees for us, which is the freezing point for us here in Madison. And for some areas, could even be a bit colder. But good news is winds are going to be light and variable, so we're not going to be seeing too much in terms of wind chill, but it's going to be partly cloudy, and it will definitely be colder than it has been over the last couple of nights now that the mild air has moved its way out. For Dane County, we're looking at temperatures into the lower and mid-30s, especially for Cross Plains and Mount Horeb, which is going to be holding into around a 34-degree mark, but many of us will be just at freezing or a degree above throughout the course of tonight. But for the rest of southern Wisconsin, we're looking at 31 degrees for Janesville, 34 for Platteville, and our friends to the north could be a couple degrees below freezing as we head into the overnights. Now, taking a look at tomorrow, it's going to be around 56 degrees, so pretty close to what it has been for today. But overall, we're still going to be rather seasonable. Around this time of year, late October, mid-50s is actually typical for us here in southern Wisconsin, especially for us here in Madison. So planning out the day, could see a couple of clouds mixing in with the sunshine throughout the course of our Thursday. But overall, temperatures are going to be into the mid-50s and even the upper 50s for our friends in Lone Rock, but a bit cooler over towards the Dells at around 53 degrees. But 57 for Janesville and about 55 for Platteville. So let's go ahead and walk through what we're going to expect for tonight in the next 24 hours and preview of what we can see on Friday. Well, going into our Thursday morning, we're going to be seeing a couple of clouds lingering, but heading out the door, it's going to be on the chilly side. The 30s is going to be throughout much of southern Wisconsin, so make sure that you have yourself a nice coat. But as we get into our afternoon, we're going to be warming up pretty nicely into the lower 50s for us here in Madison and throughout much of southern Wisconsin, thanks to the southerly winds, bringing in a bit of that warmth and some of that sunshine as well. But once we get into our Thursday evening, we are looking for some cloud cover to start to roll its way in, which is going to blanket our skies for the most part. But as we head into our Thursday night, temperatures are not going to be too bad for us as we're going to be lingering into the 40s. Going into our Friday morning, temperatures won't be nearly as cold as they're going to be for our Thursday morning, into the upper 30s. And by the time we get into the lunchtime hour, we're already into the 50s for us and eyeing close to those 60s by the time we get into our Friday evening. So our three things we're going to need to know is that, folks, enjoy this weather. It's going to be plenty of sunshine, rather seasonable, so it's not too chilly around this time of year for us. And on top of it, we're going to see the 60s back by the time we get into Friday and heading into the weekend. And it's going to be dry through next Thursday. But as we take a look at what we're going to be seeing for us, we are going to see for Halloween, the temperatures are really going to be a treat for us. Hanging into the 60s throughout the course of next week, could have see some shower chances late into our Wednesday, but overall, it's going to be dry and wonderful weather for us here in southern Wisconsin, especially for Madison. It's going to do it for weather. What's coming up in sports, Zach?
Well, there's a top 5 showdown at the Fieldhouse tonight. Why Kelly Sheffield isn't making a big deal about it being a national championship rematch. That's next on News 3 Now.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
In every corner of our state, Wisconsinites feel the impact of a changing climate, from the effects on our crops and livestock to the damage to our roads and highways. That's why Governor Tony Evers has a plan to take action and protect our state. It will get Wisconsin to 100% clean energy, lower power bills, grow our local economies, and create more than 40,000 jobs right here in Wisconsin. Tony Evers, focused on doing the right thing for Wisconsin families.
Add character from floor to ceiling with 11% off everything at Menards. Upgrade your home today with Shaw Flooring. From soft and luxurious carpet to durable laminate flooring or waterproof vinyl plank. Save 11% at all Shaw Flooring. Find your style with Patriot Lighting. Ceiling fans make a beautiful addition to any room while helping you save on energy costs year-round. Get 11% off all Patriot Lighting ceiling fans at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Keep bragging about your buck after the hunt with wild game processing from Johnson's Sausage Shop in Ryle, Wisconsin. Friends enjoy a hunting story more over a jalapeno cheddar stick. Johnson's Sausage Shop accepts wild game 7 days a week. First bucks in are the first brats out.
Get up and go!
You heard the Jingle Man, Wisconsin. That means it's time to get a versatile, rugged, athletic SUV that makes you feel like you just won a title. Again. Honda was just crowned KBB.com's best value brand for the 7th year in a row. So get up and go to your Wisconsin Heartland Honda dealer today. Honda gets Wisconsin. Bring it home, Songbird.
Get up and go! It was Halloween. My daughter stopped at 3 homes. Her girlfriend's house, her teacher's house, and the man that murdered her. He molested her. He put her in a garbage bag. He was going to be released in 2018. Josh called. He was not there for me at all. You want some help to find out what's going on, and he doesn't help. He don't care about the victims. I know Eric Toney does. Eric Toney helped keep that man that murdered my daughter from being released. Eric Toney's always been there for me, and that's the kind of attorney general we need.
We asked and you responded. Now it's time to give away all those codes for kids.
Tomorrow, Josh Breider's live at the distribution site to show you how much your gift means.
Plus, we're gearing up for a warm-up into the weekend. Join us tomorrow morning from 4:30 to 7.
Doesn't get any bigger than this for Wisconsin volleyball. Tonight, it's the national championship rematch at the Fieldhouse with #1 Nebraska in town. The Huskers sit atop the Big Ten standings, while the Badgers are right behind in second. And obviously, the rematch is what everybody's talking about. Well, everybody except Kelly Sheffield. To him, it's just another battle in the Big Ten.
It is so freaking hard to win this conference, and it is such a big deal that it's just all about how do we find a way to be good this match. You know, we've got bigger goals than just winning this match, as I'm sure they do as well. But it's going to be a really good measuring stick of where we're at.
We knew who Wisconsin was going to face in the non-conference next year: Buffalo, Washington State, and Georgia Southern. Just not their Big Ten schedule. Well, that changed today when the Badgers dropped their conference slate, and it's a pretty favorable one. They open the league play with a trip to Purdue on September 23rd. Illinois, Indiana, and Minnesota are the other road games. Rutgers, Iowa, Ohio State, Northwestern, and Nebraska will come to Camp Randall next season. Badgers on a bye week, but the Badger Blueprint is not tonight. Tune in at 10 as Jim Polzine and I look back at Wisconsin's big win over Purdue and break down their final 4-game stretch. After another dominating performance where Wisconsin women's hockey outscored Bemidji State 15-1 to earn their 4th straight sweep, the Badgers now know it's about to get a little tougher. UW heads north to take on 5th-ranked Minnesota Duluth for a top 5 showdown in the WCHA. And 10 games into their season, it's safe to say this series is their toughest yet. And it's one this group can't wait to see where they stand.
This will be the first big challenge we've had this season so far, so everybody's really excited to go up there. Duluth is a really solid team, so it'll be good competition, a good test for us.
Very strong opponent, and obviously playing in their building, you know, it's going to be challenging. It'll be our toughest challenge of the young season so far, and so I'm anxious to see what we're all about.
Safe to say the Fieldhouse is going to be rocking tonight.
That is a big one. Look forward to seeing how that turns out. Julian, final check of the forecast.
Well, the good news is things are going to be very simple for us for the next few days. But at least we get to see some 60s heading into the weekend. Low 60s will stick around until the following weekend, and Halloween is definitely going to be a treat for the forecast. Plenty of sunshine and 61 degrees.
And thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 6.
Have a great evening, and we'll see you back here at 10.